For all of your sports in Lorain, keep your TV tuned to TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television.
Here at the Coliseum at Elyria Catholic High School as we get set to get this ball game underway between the Panthers and the Southview Saints. Let's check out the starting lineups for the visiting Saints from Southview under head coach Brian Corey. They will start at guard, a 5'9" junior, Adrian Rodriguez. Rodriguez at just under 10 points per contest. Also at guard, another senior, 5'9", Brian Ramokalis. He's a sharp shooter from beyond the arc. 35 threes on the season, averaging just under 15 points per ball game. On the wing is a 6-foot senior, Maurice Bennett. Bennett at 17 points per contest. He's another one that can light it up from outside. 31 threes coming into tonight. Down in the block, the two post players for Southview. 6'1" senior, Ryan Jackson at 12.5 points per ball game. And rounding out the starting five, another senior, 6'4" tall, Maurice Johnson. Johnson at 9.9 per ball game. Southview comes into tonight scoring 71 points per ball game, and defensively the Saints surrender 60 per contest. For the Elyria Catholic Panthers under head coach Bob Walsh, looking for their first win at home this season. They will start at guard, a junior, 5'8" tall, Jock Taylor. Taylor at just under 7 points along with 3 assists per ball game. 6-foot senior John Grega will start tonight. Grega averaging just over 3 points per ball game. 6-foot sophomore Brandon Williams has a bright future here at Elyria Catholic. Will get the start tonight. 12.5 points, 4 rebounds per ball game. He is the Panther long-distance threat as Brandon comes into tonight with 19 threes on the season. Glenn Morrison, a 6'3" junior, will get the start. Glenn at just under a point per contest. And rounding out the starting five, 6'1" junior Matt Hastow. Hastow at just under 8 points to go along with 4 rebounds per ball game. Rob Polinsky, let's talk about our keys to the game. Keys to the game, as always, courtesy of McDonald's. Stay on top of your game. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Your keys to the game, courtesy of McDonald's, Rob.
Well, for Elyria Catholic, kind of touched on it a little bit, Tim, but I think their guards have to play tonight to give them a chance. They have to handle the Southview pressure. Southview loves to pressure you and cause turnovers. EC, they can't turn the ball over 25 times. I think their guards have to play, Tim.
And I think for the Southview Saints, the key to this ball game, pounce on the Panthers early. Don't let EC think that they have a shot at this basketball game. I think Brian Corey was very accurate in his assessment during the pregame conversation. First 3 minutes of this contest are critical. If they can jump out to a 10, 12-point lead in the early going and kind of get EC wavering early on, it could be a long night for the Panthers. But the longer they hang around, the more it becomes a dogfight.
Kind of like if you're into boxing, for Southview, they want to come out and they want to put a KO on EC in the first round.
There you go.
They don't want EC to hang around there for 4, 5, 6 rounds. All of a sudden start to feel good about themselves, and then, once in a while you have a Buster Douglas. So Southview wants to avoid that, Tim.
Again, our keys to the game, courtesy of McDonald's. Stay on top of your game. McDonald's, I'm loving it. 3 officials working tonight's ball game. Jeff Toth along with Mark Winerka and Jim Olenek. And Mark Winerka is going to put the ball into the air, and the tip is controlled by the Southview Saints. Going left to right along your radio dial. In the right corner, right down below us, Maurice Bennett. Out front to Rodriguez, left wing to Ramokalis. Ramokalis drops it on the baseline to Jackson. Back out front to Adrian Rodriguez. Top of the key, Ramokalis, his 3. In and out. Rebound grabbed by Elyria Catholic's Glenn Morrison. Panthers with their first possession of the night as we are just underway here at the Coliseum at Elyria Catholic High School. Baseline left, Matt Hastow comes into the lane, bounced it right side, and threw it right by Jock Taylor out of bounds.
Tim, EC came out playing 2-3 zone defense. Southview's playing man-to-man. EC defensively, they're going to have to be real aggressive in that zone because you can't let Southview just spot shoot from the outside.
Scoreless ball game as we're just underway. Southview coming right at us as we are high above courtside. Baseline down to the left of the hoop. On the left wing, Rodriguez with a 3. It's off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound, Glenn Morrison for Elyria Catholic. That's a good sign for EC. It's been one and done for Southview on their first 2 possessions. On the left wing for Elyria Catholic, Brandon Williams. Out front to Jock Taylor, down the right side to Grega. Grega whips it cross court, and it flew right by Hastow out of bounds.
But, Tim, that's not a good sign that they've gotten through the pressure, and then in their offensive sets they have unforced turnovers. as Coach would say, Coach Walsh, they've got to be efficient on offense if they're going to have a chance tonight, Tim. 2 turnovers and 2 trips isn't that.
6:50 to go, first quarter. Southview with their 3rd possession of the night. We're still scoreless. Ryan Jackson on the right wing, top of the key to Ramocalis. Brian comes left of the lane, drops it underneath to Bennett in traffic. Got fouled as he went up with the shot. So Maurice Bennett, the 6-foot senior, will shoot 2. Jeff Toth with the call. And the foul is on Elyria Catholic's Glenn Morrison. That's his first. You know, Rob, the Cavaliers with a night off tonight. Perhaps Joe Tate listening at home. We should let Joe know. It's basketball time at the Coliseum.
Exactly.
It's been a long time since we've heard those words.
That's right.
Maurice Bennett split the pair for Southview. Hit the first, missed the second. So the first point of the ball game goes to the Saints. We'll have Cavalier basketball tomorrow night on WEOL. Cavaliers home to the Memphis Grizzlies on Wednesday. At the other end, Matt Hastow got caught on the baseline. Nice trap by Maurice Johnson, but Maurice a little too aggressive, and he'll be called with the foul.
The return of Mike Fratello to Gun Arena, not as an analyst.
What did Mike do to his hair, though? Oh, my, it does not look good. Shot put up from EC, no good. Rebound, Ryan Jackson heads to the other end, into the lane, and he got held by Jock Taylor as he went to the hoop. Poor Jock just hanging on for dear life. First foul on Taylor, and that will send Ryan Jackson to the free throw line, 6'1 senior, 65% free throw shooter. Southview as a team at 64%. First one up and in for Ryan Jackson. Cavaliers trying to bounce back after a tough loss last night to the Washington Wizards. Second one up and in for Ryan Jackson. His first 2 points, and Southview now with a 3-0 lead. And now the Saints are going to apply that patented Southview pressure. Boy, it dates back to the Larry Stark days at Southview. They love to come after you. Inbounds pass, Jock Taylor. Taylor in the backcourt facing a double team, throws it up ahead to Grega, whips it on the baseline to Morrison. His short shot is swatted out of bounds by Ryan Jackson.
And there's the athleticism of Southview, Tim. Even though they got beat on the press, they still can get back and block a shot. So even though you have it beat, you think you might have an easy shot, not so.
Inbounds pass, skipped right by Morrison. Out of there with it comes Ramocalis for Southview. Down the floor to Jackson. Right of the lane, drives, put it on the rim, no good. Rebound Morrison for Elyria Catholic. Off to Jock Taylor. Panthers down 3-0. 5:50 left in the first quarter. Hastow on the right wing for EC. Pass up top deflected, but grabbed by Brandon Williams. Right side to Taylor. Got it down low to Hastow. His shot partially blocked. Out of there with it, Jackson. Jackson down the floor to Rodriguez. Stutter steps, right of the lane. Bang shot, no good. Rebound deflects off a couple of Panthers, and it went out of bounds. And Mark Winerka says give the ball to Southview. Saints in their road blue uniforms tonight. White letters and numbers with the red trim. EC in their traditional home white with the green letters and numbers trimmed in black. Southview turns it over in the lane. Out of there with it comes the Elyria Catholic's Brandon Williams. The young sophomore through the center circle into the forecourt, left side to Jock Taylor. Taylor on the baseline, lost the basketball. Out of there with it, Ryan Jackson shoves it down the floor to Rodriguez, who drives, scoops, and scores. Adrian Rodriguez with his first 2, and EC is staring at a 5-0 deficit. 5:05 left in the opening quarter. Williams shy of the timeline, whips it down the floor to Morrison, drops it into Taylor, but the pass knocked out of bounds by Maurice Johnson.
Tim, early on, the tempo was in favor of Southview. They're racing up and down. They're forcing EC into turnovers. This is the tempo the Saints want to play at.
Yeah, they want this to be an 84-foot basketball game, hoop to hoop. Bob Walsh wants to slow this thing down somewhat. Bob Walsh wants a point. 5-0, Panthers trailing. Grega on the right sideline, whips it in the circle to Hastow. Hastow comes down the lane, got his shot blocked by Johnson. Out of there with it, Ryan Jackson for Southview. Races to the forecourt, up ahead to Bennett. Got his shot blocked. The follow put no good. Rebound Johnson, got it blocked. Nice play by Brandon Williams for Elyria Catholic. Grega grabs the loose ball, gives it back to Williams. Up ahead on the left side to Morrison. Out front to Jock Taylor. Off on the right wing to Grega. Grega throwing an elbow out there. Ball knocked out of his hands, and it went off Maurice Bennett. First substitution of the ball game, Brian Corey for Southview will get Alan Quattlebaum in the ball game. 6'1 senior, averaging 2.5 points per contest. Maurice Johnson will get a rest. 4:22 left in the opening quarter. Panthers looking for their first points. Jock Taylor, right of the lane, got his shot blocked out of bounds. Sooner or later, EC's going to stop driving into the tall timber of Southview.
And they also just need to slow down. I mean, they're just trying to, it's like they think there's a shot clock out there.
Inbounds pass stolen away by the Saints. Nice play by Bennett. Then Ramocalis tried to save it inbounds on the long pass down floor. He did, but he saved it to Grega. Up ahead to Hastow, and as Hastow went to the hoop, we'll get a blocking foul on Maurice Bennett of Southview. For Maurice Bennett, that's his first non-shooting foul. Left of his own basket, John Grega will inbound for Elyria Catholic.
Well, I guess they're giving him the shots, Tim.
No, they are going to
put
put him
shoot
at
the ball
line.
either.
Mark Winerker had a change of heart down there.
Well, maybe he felt sorry for EC because they didn't shoot a free throw against St. Joe's Friday night. Did not have a free throw attempt.
That is unbelievable. Matt Hastow, 58% free throw shooter, missed the first.
I don't think Bob Walsh believed it either, reading his comments in the CT on Saturday.
Second one up and in. So the first point of the ball game, a free throw from Matt Hastow, and EC down 5-1. Up top, Ramocalis unloads the jumper, missed it. Rebound, Jock Taylor for EC. Taylor into the forecourt. We're halfway through the opening period. Taylor right of the lane, bank shot, hung it on the rim and dropped it in. Jock Taylor with his first two, 5-3. Panthers within a bucket. Southview with the basketball. Maurice Bennett up top to Rodriguez, quickly on the right wing to Ramocalis. Ramocalis comes right of the lane. Back on the left side to Bennett. Bennett comes into the traffic. Bank shot, a beauty. Nice shot, Maurice Bennett. That's three for Maurice, 7-3. Southview with a 4-point advantage in the backcourt. A steal by Ryan Jackson. Gives it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez, baseline left. Bounce on the wing to Ramocalis. Ramocalis into the circle. Right side to Bennett. Bennett comes right down the pipe, scoops, and scores. Nice shot by Maurice as it rattled in. He's got 5, 9-3. The Saints with a 6-point advantage, 3:08 to go in the period. Taylor in the center circle, and we'll get a reach-in foul as Ramocalis tried to knock it out of there. They'll call the foul on the 5'9" senior for Southview.
6 turnovers already on EC, Tim.
That Saint pressure starting to bother the home team. Hastow will take a seat for Elyria Catholic. Checking in is Dane Truchon, a 6-foot junior. Truchon averaging 5.5 points per ball game. John Grega takes a seat. I see Dane. Who's our other new guy in there? Oh, Corbin Slaughter got in there. 6'4" sophomore at 4.5 points per ball game. This is also a very young Elyria Catholic basketball team.
No doubt about it. One senior on the roster, and, so maybe next year, year after, things can get a little bit better. You're going to go through growing pains, Tim. You play the schedule they play with just one senior on your roster.
Boy, that North Coast League is just a meat grinder. 3 minutes to go, first quarter. 9-3, Southview by 6. Morrison, baseline right, bounces it underneath the Schlatter, whips it up top to Taylor. Taylor, nice bounce pass down low, but it got through the legs of Truchon. Out of there with it, the Saints. Rodriguez, long pass down the floor to Bennett, who drives and scores. Boy, Maurice Bennett is quick. 7 points in the ball game, 11-3. Saints by 8 at the other end. Jock Taylor, the runner, in and out. Rebound grabbed by Southview's Maurice Johnson, who's back in. Down the floor to Bennett. Pulls up, shoots, and hits a beauty. Maurice Bennett is on fire. 9 first quarter points, 13-3 Saints. Bob Walsh has seen enough. Timeout Panthers. They're down 10. 2:26 left in the first quarter on the Colson and Colson cage matchup.
Looking for the right color, the right style, the right price for your floor coverings? Well, you can find them all at Ted's Floor Coverings, the only place you need to shop for affordable custom flooring. Whether you're looking for area rugs, carpeting, laminates, ceramic, or marble, you'll enjoy browsing through one of the largest showrooms in Northeast Ohio. Their talented staff will even help with your design questions. Ted's is proud to showcase the Kathy Ireland Shades of America collection. Shop at Ted's Floor Covering, 668 Broadway, downtown Lorain, a local company committed to our community. Ted Kalo, President.
EC had gotten back to within 2 at 5-3. Since then, 8 straight points by the Saints. and they popped it out to a 10-point advantage, 13-3 Southview. Boy, here at EC, desperate times call for desperate measures. How about Matt St. Marie doing the public address announcing here at the Coliseum? Oh, my goodness.
I was surprised you tried to compete with him when you gave the starting five. I thought you would just concede.
Oh, my. Off the timeout. Nice press breaker by the Panthers, but Morrison had his shot blocked by Johnson. Out of there with it, Ramokalis lobs it in the left corner to Bennett. Boy, he's sizzling right now, a 9-point first quarter. Bennett up top to Ramokalis, drives the lane, tried to dump it underneath, ball loose, scramble for it right down below us. Out of there with it, Maurice Johnson. Southview still with the basketball, leading by 10. Up front, nice steal. Jared Fritz now in the game for EC. Bounce on the right side, scoop shot no good by Brandon Williams. Ball loose in the paint, rolls out of bounds, and it went off. Ramokalis for Southview.
Tim, I would assume Coach Walsh with that timeout just not happy with the tempo and that his team's kind of trying to race up and down the floor with Southview. There is no way in the world they can compete tonight if they keep playing at that pace.
They need this to be a slow-moving, shortened ball game. Fritz on the right wing. Gave it off to Williams. Williams in the corner to Schlatter. Schlatter up top to Morrison. Back on the left side to Brandon Williams. Coming up at the half, the Nationwide Insurance Halftime Show. Brandon Williams, cross-court right wing to Morrison. Straddling the three-point arc. Back on the left side to Williams. Drops it on the wing to Truchon. Top of the circle to Schlatter. Back on the right side to Williams. Williams matched up against Derek Williams now in the game for Southview. Threw it up top. Shot put up no good. Offensive rebound Morrison. Got his shot blocked, but they'll call the foul.
And Tim, that time, for the first time tonight, EC looked decent on offense. They took their time. They had good passes. They found an open man. Yeah, they missed the shot, but it was the first time they didn't look helter-skelter. Obviously, you have to credit Southview's defense for, creating EC turning into helter-skelter, too. That's part of it.
Glenn Morrison at the free throw line, shooting 2 for EC. First free throw up and in. Now, Bob Walsh gave me his stat sheet before the ball game, and if Bob's stats are correct, and I've never doubted them, this is Glenn Morrison's first trip to the free throw line this year. So he's now 1 of 1 on the season. 6'3" junior. So that ends the 8-0 run by Southview. Second one up and in. 2 points in the ball game for Glenn Morrison makes it a 13-5 contest. Substitution for Southview. Maurice Bennett will take a seat. He had a terrific first quarter, 9 points, 4 field goals, and split a pair of free throws. 13-5. Saints by 8, 1:08 to go here in the first period. Rodriguez brings the ball up against Jared Fritz. Rodriguez spins by Fritz into the lane, bounce underneath. Little short jumper of beauty by Maurice Johnson. 15-5, Saints by 10. Nice point guard work by Adrian Rodriguez. Here come the Panthers to the other end. Brandon Williams left of the lane, pulls up, shoots, misses. Rebound Rodriguez behind his back on the dribble, lost the ball, got it back. Into the forecourt, whoops it down the floor. Ball deflected right back to Rodriguez like a pinball. Off on the left wing to Jackson, fakes the shot, now comes inside, throws up the jumper and nailed it.
Saints have made their last 6 shot attempts.
17-5. Southview by a dozen. 25 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Fritz lost the ball on the dribble, scooped up by Ramokalis. Down the floor to Williams, who drives and scores. Derek Williams, the 5'9" junior, with his first 2. And look out, the Saints are on a run, threatening to blow it open early. In the backcourt for EC, Rob McFarland now in, lost the ball to Ramokalis, left of the lane, put it up. Nobody got fouled.
9 turnovers in the quarter. The guards, whoever's at guard, can't handle the Southview pressure, Tim. It looks like it could be a long night for the EC Panthers.
Rob McFarland, 5'11" junior, picks up his first foul. And that puts Ramokalis at the free throw line with 4 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
I think you have to give Coach Corey and his staff a lot of credit, Tim, because their team is ready to play offensively, defensively. Emotionally, they have come out and they are creating tempo, playing very hard, not feeling sorry for themselves that they've lost 2 in a row.
Ramokalis hit them both. Good free throw shooter, 76%. 21-5. Inbounds pass. Martin now in the game. Chucks it to the other end, and it deflects out of bounds, and that ends the quarter. 21-5. The Saints by 16 at the end of 1 on the Colson & Colson cage matchup.
Since 1921, your hometown financial professionals at First Federal Savings of Lorain have dedicated themselves to meeting the financial needs of their customers and surrounding communities. They offer a wide variety of financial investments as well as home mortgages to meet your every need. Loans on boats, cars, mobile homes, and other worthwhile purchases are also available. Whatever your financial need, First Federal Savings of Lorain is ready to help. 7 convenient locations to serve you in Lorain, Huron, Sandusky, Port Clinton, and now at 36690 Detroit Road in Avon. First Federal Savings of Lorain is an equal housing lender and FDIC insured.
It's a sound we take for granted. Life seems so simple as a child, yet 500,000 children in Ohio have vision problems. Problems that, if not detected early, can lead to loss of sight and difficulty learning. Simple activities like riding a bike can become dangerous. When you register your vehicle or renew your license plates, add a $1 donation to the Save Our Sight Fund and help save the sight of Ohio's children. For more information, call 1-800-755-GROW.
Thanks for giving to Save Our Sight.
Welcome back to the Coliseum, and welcome to all of our internet listeners, as tonight's game and every high school basketball game on WEOL this year can be heard online at LorainCounty.com Sports. Hear every game live. In fact, go back and listen on demand. They're all archived for all the action all season long. Join your neighbors. Log on to LorainCounty.com. Tim Elkhorn, Rob Polinsky back with you at Elyria Catholic. Panthers with the basketball to start the second quarter. Taylor, right of the lane, put a wild shot up, no good. Rebound loose in the paint. Out of there with it, Ramocalis for the Saints. Into the forecourt, applies the brakes. Right wing Williams, his shot rattled in and out. Rebound, Morrison had his pass picked off. Ramocalis right into the passing lane. Then he got tied up by Morrison, and the possession arrow will belong to the Southview Saints. 21-5, Southview with a 16-2 run to close out the first quarter. It was a 5-3 ball game. On the left wing, Derek Williams in the corner to Ramocalis, brings it up top. Left side to Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a stutter step, top of the key. Ramocalis, his three. Rim, glass, no. Rebound deflects into the lane. Shot put up by Jackson, no good. Jackson got it back, powered it up, no. Tipped it up and in. Nice shot by Ryan Jackson. He's got 6. 23-5. The Panthers almost turn it over at the half-court line. Rodriguez ties up the basketball as Jock Taylor emerges unscathed. Panthers with the arrow. Boy, that Southview press is just unrelenting.
And they smell blood, Tim, and they're getting after it.
Grega up ahead to Hastow, and Hastow got fouled. Coming up at the intermission, the Nationwide Insurance Halftime Show, brought to you by your Lorain County Nationwide Insurance agents. That foul on Southview called on Ryan Jackson. That's his first. Up next for Elyria Catholic, Friday night they travel to Trinity. Southview on Friday night, home to Garfield Heights in a Lake Erie League matchup. Panthers with the basketball, down 18. Left wing Taylor for 3. It's off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound comes off to Derek Williams for Southview. Williams to the forecourt. Right wing Adrian Rodriguez works his way into the lane. Back out front to Ramocalis. Right side to Williams. Traveled with it. Took that little hippity hop right in front of the Panther bench, and they caught him.
Tim, we'll probably talk about it more as the night wears on, but this Saturday morning, that Division I draw at Midview, I know you guys will have the results during the Joe Ferment wrap-up show. It's going to be very interesting to see where Southview is, if they get seeded, if so where, and also the rest of that tournament draw, just how that all comes to be.
It's going to be very, very intriguing, no doubt about it. Right side of the forecourt, Jock Taylor broke free, scoops and scores. Jock Taylor with 4 points, 2 field goals in the ball game, makes it 23-7. Our very own Matt Lodi will be down there on Saturday morning. Will give us a traffic update and then tell us what's happening at the draw. Jackson scoops it down low to Johnson. Got his shot blocked. Out of there with it comes Elyria Catholic. Into the forecourt, Jock Taylor. Taylor behind his back on the dribble. Taylor in the lane. Left side to Grega. John Grega for EC. In the corner to Hastow. Hastow against Johnson. Hastow to the baseline. Put it up with one hand. No good. Tipped up and in on a nice play by Chuck Martin. His first 2 points makes it 23-9. Saints by 14. On the left wing, Ramocalis. Right side to Rodriguez. Unloads a 3. No good. Rebound Martin for Elyria Catholic. Chuck, a 6-foot junior at 2.5 points per ball game. Hands it off to Jock Taylor. Left side to Grega. Whips it on the left side to Hasto. Hasto right in front of the St. bench. Hasto out front. Martin, the jumper, no good. Rebound tipped by Morrison, no good. Rebound Ryan Jackson. Floats a long pass down the left side to Ramocalis. Ramocalis to the baseline, cut off by Taylor. Top of the key to Jackson. And Jackson got fouled. Foul on Jock Taylor. That's his second. And for Elyria Catholic, that is team foul number 4.
Tim, the Saints are 0 for 4 behind the three-point line. If they were hitting from out there, this could be worse.
Alan Quattlebaum now in for Southview. 6'1 senior. Saw some action in the first quarter. Left side of the forecourt. Jackson up top to Rodriguez. Rodriguez holding the ball. Right wing to Ramocalis. Top of the circle to Rodriguez. Left wing to Bennett. Bennett has a 9-point ball game cooking. Bennett trapped in the corner. Floats it out front. Pass stolen by Jock Taylor. Taylor into the forecourt. Stop. Shoots. Short. Rebound knocked out front. Maurice Bennett has it for Southview. Brings it up himself. Bennett top of the key. Right side Ramocalis. Thought about the three. Splits a double team and got fouled on his way to the hoop. Jim Olenek with the call. And that foul is on Matt Hasto for Elyria Catholic. For Hasto, that's his first. And that will get Brandon Williams back in the ball game for the Panthers. 6-foot sophomore, scoreless so far.
And that was a great offensive move to the basket by Ramocalis.
Split that double team very, very nicely. Right of the key, Ryan Jackson with a jumper that's too strong. Rebound, Quattlebaum hooked it up short. Rebound tipped up and in by Jackson. Oh my, he had about half an arm above the rim. Ryan Jackson with 8. 25-9. Hasto baseline left, got his shot blocked by Jackson. Here come the Saints. Jackson left side, Ramocalis scoop, scores. Ramocalis his first field goal, 4 points in the ball game. 27-9. 4:07 left in the first half. Right of the lane, Glenn Morrison, bank shot no good, and they'll call the charge on Glenn as he went plowing into Maurice Bennett.
No doubt about that one. Morrison just flat out ran over the defender who was set for quite a while.
4:02 left in the first half. At the intermission, the Nationwide Insurance Halftime Show, brought to you by your Lorain County Nationwide Insurance agents. Our next Colson and Colson cage matchup Friday night from Keystone. Boy, how about the season the Wildcats are putting together? They host Avon. It comes your way Friday night at 7:05. Rodriguez, the runner in the lane, right on the mark.
To me, to this point, maybe what they've done this year is more impressive than last year, just because last year they had so much talent. This year, especially with early on, Tim, you had that game they lost to Wellington. What they've done since then has been remarkable.
A lot of close games, but they're finding a way to win. At the other end, Elyria Catholic's Brandon Williams drains a jumper from 15, makes it a 29-11 ball game. Back at the other end, Ramocalis hits a 3 for the Saints. Brian Ramocalis now with 7. That's 36 threes on the year. 32-11. A 21-point bulge for Southview. At the other end, a 3-point shot put up no good by EC. Offensive rebound, Slaughter hooked it up no good. Slaughter got it back. Got his shot blocked by Johnson. Loose ball grabbed by Brandon Williams, but he got fouled from behind by Brian Ramocalis.
And to me, now going back to Southview for a second, that's where, to Keystone for a second, that's now where they have established a really good program, Tim. When you're winning, when you don't have the talent that you had in the past, and they're doing as well as they have, they've established a program.
I'll tell you what, it speaks volumes for Greg Morgan.
Great, yep.
Really does. A lot of folks thought he won last year simply because he had a lot of talent. Sometimes that's more difficult a coaching job than when you don't have a lot of talent. Morrison left of the lane, drops in a nice jumper for the Panthers. Glenn Morrison with 4, his first field goal tonight, makes it 32-13. At the other end, Johnson on the baseline lost the ball off his own leg out of bounds. Ball goes back to EC. Substitution, here comes Ryan Jackson back in for Southview. Alan Quattlebaum will take a seat. 2:37 to go in the half. It's been all Southview since early on in the first quarter, and right down below us, Chuck Martin couldn't get it in for EC. The 5-second violation gives the ball back to the Saints.
And that's impressive if you're Southview, Tim. You're up 19, 2.5 minutes to go in the first half, and yet you just created a 5-second violation.
Ramocalis from the corner unloads a deep three that's off the mark, but the rebound ricochets out front to Adrian Rodriguez. Left side to Ramocalis. Ramocalis for Southview. Whips it left of the lane to Jackson. Comes around a defender. Put it up. No, but he got fouled.
That's a tremendous pass by Ramocalis right there into Jackson.
And a nice drop step move by Ryan Jackson to go to the bucket. I'll tell you what, Brian Corey has done a heck of a job with this Southview team. You watch them play. They are disciplined, outstanding fundamentals.
Very impressive. This is my first opportunity to see him this year, Tim. Very, very impressed. Last time I saw him was when they almost knocked off Homestead Falls in the district tournament last year at Midview. In a game, I don't think any of the area fans, if they were there, that they would still, I'm sure they haven't forgotten that one.
Jackson split the pair, missed the first, hit the second. Ryan with a 9-point ball game makes it 33-13. Yeah, that was one of those titanic struggles that, as you say, will lasted a lot of folks' memories for a long, long time. What a great game that was.
I think in a way the Saints won by losing that game. In a loss, you know, they won a lot of respect, and I think they gained a lot of confidence even though they lost to that Homestead Falls team.
33-13, Panthers down 20, and they kick the ball away at the other end. Scooped up by Bennett. Long pass down the floor to Ramocalis. Quickly to Rodriguez. Rodriguez in the left corner. Back up top to Ramocalis. Off on the wing to Bennett. His three. A beauty! Oh, my, they're doing everything right.
And what I like, Tim, is they're unselfish.
36-13. EC with problems with the basketball, but into the forecourt comes Truchon. Dane Truchon back in for the Panthers. Out front to Williams, right side to Grega. Drops it on the wing to Morrison. Morrison outside the three-point arc against Jackson. In the middle to Grega, to Williams. Williams against Ramocalis. Drops it on the baseline to Truchon. Bounce out front to Brandon Williams. Williams had his pocket picked by Ramocalis. Bounce on the right wing to Jackson. Scoops! Missed the shot. Rebound Morrison. Glenn Morrison clears out. 1:20 to go in the half. 36-13 Southview. Brandon Williams in the center circle, and he got a bit of a shove from either Rodriguez or Jackson, and the foul will be called on Rodriguez. Well, they called it on Ramocalis. I didn't think Ramocalis was near that play. But anyway, that's the third foul on Ramocalis, so he'll have to sit for a while. Robert Laurenti will check in for Southview. At the free throw line, shooting 1-1, Brandon Williams. Look over to my right, Brandon's dad, Billy Joe Williams, here tonight. Boy, you talk about a guy that could flat light it up for the Elyria Catholic Panthers under head coach Bob Junta at the time. Brandon missed the front end of the 1-1.
You know, I've heard a few people say that over the years.
Oh, wow, what a player he was. Played several years in Europe. Laurenti got it down low to Johnson, and Johnson got fouled as he went up with the shot. One of the great things about sports is that you can have friendly debates or discussions about the greatest this, the greatest that, and of course, greatest high school basketball player in Lorain County is one of those that always comes up when you're around coaches and former players. His name is always in that conversation. One of the all-time greats. At the free throw line for Southview, Maurice Johnson. Johnson shooting 54% free throw shooter. First one off the back of the rim, no good.
I would assume that Coach Walsh may have coached a player or two that's in that conversation.
Well, I was just going to say, Larry Harris over at Clearview. Of course, Froggy Davis. Bubbles Harris at Admiral King. Second free throw on the way. Right there. Maurice Johnson now with 3 points. So you start rattling off names, and tomorrow I'm going to get a call saying, you left this guy out. You didn't talk about this guy. Because, boy, there have been some greats in this area. Under a minute to go first half, and coming up the right side for Elyria Catholic, Brandon Williams got fouled, so he'll go back to the free throw line.
You know how everybody now has a sports list type of thing. Maybe you can come up with your top 10 Lorain County players of all time. Ask the coaches and see what they think.
They all may have biased opinions.
No.
At the free throw line, Brandon this time hits the front end of the 1-1. Of course, over at Lorain Catholic, you had Paul Wilson, Frank Owens.
I did see those two gentlemen play in high school.
My. Second free throw right there for Brandon. Brandon now with 4 points in the ball game. Like I said, you could just keep going. There have been some outstanding basketball players. On the right wing for Southview, Derek Williams up top to Rodriguez, left side to Laurenti. Laurenti had the ball poked out of his hands, but it's grabbed by Ryan Jackson. Jackson lob in the right corner to Williams. Williams comes right of the lane, shovels it left side to Laurenti. Laurenti got his shot blocked out of bounds. Nice defensive job by Corbin Schlatter for Elyria Catholic.
A game like this tonight, Coach Corey can get different looks at different kids and see what they can do and get a lot of different opportunities to see different players, Tim.
We're 30 seconds away from the Nationwide Insurance Halftime Show, brought to you by your Lorain County Nationwide Insurance agents. Laurenti on the left wing, drops it on the baseline to Johnson, spins, shoots, no good. Rebound tipped into the corner. Nice hustle play. Ryan Jackson saved it in. Ball scooped up, though, by Williams for Elyria Catholic, but he had his pocket picked by the other Williams for Southview. 4 on the clock. Left wing to Rodriguez. Slipped down. Rodriguez lost the ball, and the buzzer sounds. We head to the locker room. Southview rolling along. The Saints up by 22. 37-15 over EC at the half on the Colson & Colson cage matchup.
Your one-stop place for something really special is Impressions, corner of Oberlin Avenue and Tower Boulevard. T-shirts and sweatshirts personally designed to your specific needs. Anything from bears, trains to zebras, and specially designed hats as well. And don't forget Impressions, your one-stop spot for school jackets. See Dave, the designer expert at Impressions, Oberlin Avenue at Tower Boulevard, right here in Lorain.
For the people in our armed forces, it's a time of sacrifice, a time of duty. That's why we've joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. The 4 military aid societies gave millions last year to cover unexpected medical expenses, child care, and more. But with so many overseas, the need is greater than ever. They're serving us. Let's serve them in return.
Keep your pets safe this winter. Wash your dog's paws to remove harmful salt from walking on the streets and sidewalks. Keep cats indoors. Clean up antifreeze spills. Limit outdoor exercise. Breathing cold air for extended periods can damage your dog's lungs. Don't play summer games in the winter. It can cause a serious case of frostbite. If your pet shows signs of frostbite, keep it warm and take it to your veterinarian for immediate treatment.
Well, we welcome you back. I'm Tim Elkhorn, along with Rob Polinsky on this Tuesday night Colson & Colson cage matchup at the intermission here at EC at Southview, dismantling the Panthers 37-15. Our Nationwide Insurance Halftime Show being brought to you by your Lorain County Nationwide Insurance agents. Find your kind of agent. Call a Nationwide Insurance agent today. Recapping this one for you, EC was hanging around. Southview got up 5-3. And then the blitzkrieg came, a 16-2 run to close out the first quarter by the Saints. And the next thing you knew, Southview was up 16, 21-5 at the end of one. And as Rob Polinsky so aptly put it, they smelled blood as they continued to get after it in the second quarter of play, leading by as many as 20, 29-9. They pushed it out to a 21-point lead at 32-11, and then a 23-point lead at 36-13 before it became a 24-point lead at 37-15. The Panthers with the final 2 points of the half to make it a 37-15 ball game. Southview with the huge lead at the intermission. Recapping the individual scoring for you. For Elyria Catholic, Bob Walsh has pretty much sent everybody in there that he could off the bench. Jared Fritz, Rob McFarland, Dane Truchon, and Corbin Schlatter all were scoreless. Chuck Martin had a field goal for 2 points. Starting 5, John Grego was scoreless in the first half. Matt Hastow had a free throw for 1 point. 3 guys with 4, Glenn Morrison, Brandon Williams, and Jock Taylor. The Panthers with a halftime total of 15, quarters of 5 and 10. For the Southview Saints off the bench, Robert Laurenti and Alan Quattlebaum were scoreless. Derek Williams had a bucket for 2. Terrific balance from the starting five. Maurice Johnson with 3 points in the first half. Adrian Rodriguez, a couple of field goals for 4. Brian Ramopolis had a 2-point field goal, a 3-point bomb, and a couple of free throws. 7 points in the first half. Ryan Jackson with 9. He had 3 field goals and 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Maurice Bennett with a dozen. He got off to a hot start, had 9 in the first quarter on 4 field goals and a free throw, then banged in a 3-point bomb in the second for 12 at the half. Southview with a total of 37, quarters of 21 and 16. It's been all Saints. They lead by 22, 37-15 Southview. We'll take a timeout on our nationwide insurance halftime show from the Coliseum here at Elyria Catholic High School. When we come back, Rob Polinsky has a look at the halftime numbers. That and more after we take this timeout on the WEOL Colson and Colson Cage Matchup.
For the people in our armed forces, it's a time of sacrifice, a time of duty. That's why we've joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. The 4 military aid societies gave millions last year to cover unexpected medical expenses, child care, and more. But with so many overseas, the need is greater than ever. They're serving us. Let's serve them in return.
Taking a look at tonight's first half stats for Southview, they were 14 out of 33 from the field for 42%, 7 out of 10 from the foul line for 70%, 21 rebounds and 8 turnovers. For EC, they shot just 5 of 24 from the field for a miserable 21%, 5 out of 7 from the foul line for 71%, 14 rebounds and 12 big turnovers for EC in the first half. The only thing colder than EC shooting was Mad Dog's halftime three-point shooting. We'll be back to the Coliseum after this timeout. Southview leads at halftime 37-15.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. Gonna stand my ground, won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. I won't back down.
Welcome back to the Coliseum here at Elyria Catholic. 37-15. It's been all Southview. You just heard that commercial for Lorain City Schools. We want to tell you that Lorain City Schools television is indeed here tonight. Joe Bach, B-O-C-K, high above courtside here at the Coliseum, running the camera. And for those of you who are listening in the city of Lorain tonight, in a moment or two, I will tell you when you can watch this game on TV 20, Lorain City Schools television. First possession of the second half, Ryan Jackson down on the baseline, spin move to the bucket, scores, and he got fouled. Well, the second half picks up right where the first half left off. Ryan with 11, he'll look for 12 at the free throw line. The foul was called on Hastow, his second, and Jackson drains the free throw. Ryan now with a dozen. 40-15. Southview up by 25 points. Panthers coming right at us here in the second half of play. Hastow in the right corner. Lob up top to Brandon Williams. The long jumper is good for 3. Brandon Williams with 7. Makes it a 40-18 ball game. Panthers are going to need a lot more of those. Down low, Bennett in traffic. Bank shot good. Maurice Bennett with 14. He's a nice ball player. 42-18, a 24-point lead for Southview. Bennett coming into tonight, 17 points per contest. In the lane, Jock Taylor got free for EC and popped in a little 6-footer. Jock now with 6, makes it 42-20. A minute gone here in the third quarter. Southview staked themselves to the big advantage early on, and they haven't looked back. Top of the circle, Ramopolis On the right wing to Rodriguez. Rodriguez comes right to the lane, back up top to Jackson. He'll shoot a three off the back of the rim, no good. Ryan Corey just picked up a gray hair. Rodriguez, top of the key. He'll shoot a three off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound in the right corner. Bennett threw it out of bounds off of John Grega.
It'll be interesting to see Southview's approach this half, Tim. They don't want to get sloppy. They don't want to get in any bad habits. I'm sure Coach Corey still wants to see some things. But mentally for the kids, let's face it, they've got this one put away.
Boy, Rodriguez, nice no-look pass to Ryan Jackson, who laid it in. That was nifty. Ryan now with 14. Beautiful pass by Rodriguez. 44-20. Quickly at the other end. Morrison had his shot blocked out of bounds by Ryan Jackson. Anyway, for those of you listening in Lorain tonight, you can watch this game on WLCS TV 20 tomorrow, Wednesday, and Saturday. It will be shown at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. So set your VCR. You're not going to want to miss a minute of all the thrills and chills here at the Coliseum tonight. And Joe Bach, I'm sure he's got some good zoom-in shots going this evening. He's a master at the camera. Out front, three in the air, short by Brandon Williams for EC. Tracked down his own rebound. Baseline shot off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound Maurice Bennett for the Saints. Here comes Southview. 5:50 to go, third quarter, 44-20. Bennett into the circle. His jumper rattled around the rim and out. Rebound fought for. Morrison has it for Elyria Catholic. Down the floor to Williams. Williams in the middle. Bounce on the left sideline to Grega. Grega comes left to the lane. Short shot right on the mark. John Grega with his first 2 points. Makes it a 44-22 contest. Left side of the forecourt. Maurice Bennett for Southview. Up top to Ramocalis. Switching hands on the dribble, scoops and scores on a nice drive to the bucket. Brian Ramocalis now with 9, makes it 46-22. Up the right side comes Brandon Williams for Elyria Catholic. Spins away from Ramocalis, comes down the lane, got his shot blocked. Loose ball grabbed by Grega, and Grega got fouled as he went back up.
Tim, there's a lot of things impressive about Ramocalis, but I'm a little bit surprised how quick he is. He is really fast out there, and he's a pretty strong kid. I mean, you can see he's been in the weight room a little bit.
Second foul on Ryan Jackson. Well, I'm sure Brian in his younger day got schooled a little bit by his older brother, Scott Ramocalis, who was a terrific player at Southview. Mr. Basketball winner here in Lorain County.
He has a little bit different build than his brother, and he's a different player.
He has that long-distance shooting ability, though.
Oh, yeah.
They must have a long driveway at the Ramocalis house. Second free throw missed by Grega, but the ball deflects out of bounds off Southview. Bob Walsh likes to call them driveway shooters, Coach. They're driveway shooters. Morrison on the left wing had his pass deflected, and it goes out of bounds. Ball still belongs to Elyria Catholic. Elsewhere tonight, non-conference basketball for the boys. Avon Lake at Berea, Bay at Northridgeville, Black River at Keystone, Clearview at Lutheran West, Midview at Westlake, Vermilion at Wellington. In the lane, Grega bounce in the left corner to Morrison, 15-footer, an air ball. Rebound knocked out of bounds. It went off Southview. Of course, Jim Allen tomorrow morning at 7:15 right here on WEOL. We'll have all those scores for you. In the backcourt, Ramocalis quickly to the forecourt. On the left wing at the three-point arc. Ramocalis stutter steps on the dribble, pulls up, shoots it short. Rebound, Brandon Williams for Elyria Catholic. 4.5 minutes to go in the third. Williams, nice dish to Morrison, who walked with the basketball. Rob, right to our right. Officer Eichenlaub from the Elyria Police Department.
I know him.
He waved at you like he's seen you before.
He has. Oh, yeah.
Looked to me a look of familiarity there. Down low, Maurice Johnson got free on a nice feed by Rodriguez, and Johnson popped it home. Maurice now with 5. And Rodriguez on the inbounds pass knocks it off the leg of Brandon Williams out of bounds. Ball goes to Southview. They have been very impressive tonight. A 25-point lead. 48-23. Bennett whips it down low to Rodriguez. Rodriguez under the hoop. Lobs it out front to Ramocalis. Quickly on the baseline to Johnson. 12-footer right there. What outstanding ball movement.
If I go to my license and registration, that's just out of habit, if he comes over.
Proof of insurance.
That's in the car. I don't have that with me.
Grega traveled in the backcourt for Elyria Catholic. Well, the wheels have fallen off for EC. Coming into tonight, they had lost 5 in a row, 2-10 on the year, looking for something positive to happen. It has not transpired in the first 2.5 quarters here on their home floor.
I think a lot of that credit goes to Southview with the way their intensity was, Tim. They were not going to let EC ever think they were in the game. Kind of goes back to your McDonald's key to the game, where you thought that for Southview they had to get right on them right away, and and they certainly did.
Derek Williams in the game now for Southview. Gives it off to Bennett, right side to Rodriguez, comes into the lane, scoops with the left hand, missed it. Rebound, Corbin Slaughter now in the game for EC. Gives it off to Brandon Williams, chucks it down the floor on the right wing to Kyle Arroyo now in the game, seeing his first action. Shot off the mark. Rebound grab by Bennett for Southview. Bennett into the forecourt, stutter steps into the circle, looking for help, whoops it in the lane to Johnson. His shot a beauty. Oh my. Maurice Johnson with 9. Boy, the Saints are putting on a show. 52-23. Long pass to Chuck Martin for EC. Into the forecourt, stops, shoots, and hits. Chuck now with 4. 3 minutes to go in the third. Hey, after the ball game, the Mr. Hero post-game show, presented by your local Mr. Hero. Rodriguez in the circle, the jumper too strong. Rebound grabbed by Brandon Williams for EC. Williams through the center circle, bounce on the right wing to Arroyo, out front to Williams, quickly on the left side to Jared Fritz. Down the left wing to Martin. Martin from the baseline, shot short, rebound Quattlebaum. His pass deflected out of bounds by Arroyo for EC. We mentioned our next Colson and Colson cage matchup Friday night, Avon at Keystone. Saturday we'll have a girls-boys doubleheader for you. I'll do the girls game Saturday afternoon from Wellington, the Lady Dukes entertaining the Avon Lady Eagles. And then, Rob, I think you're going to have a terrific game on Saturday night for the boys, Avon Lake at North Olmsted.
Certainly hope so. Obviously the Eagles are playing really well, and Avon Lake has that potential.
How about Avon Lake knocking off Amherst?
Big win for Dave Ollinger's team.
Derek Williams, run of the lane, had his pass deflected. There's a rugby scrum on the right side, and the possession arrow belongs to Elyria Catholic.
And Tim, it seems like Amherst hasn't recovered from that. They haven't played well for a couple of weeks, where tonight Southview has recovered from their 2 setbacks and have played very well tonight.
2:18 left in the third. It's all Saints. They lead by 27. Jared Fritz for EC. His pass down the floor, stolen by Derek Williams. Left of the lane, stop, shoots, hits, and the foul. Derek Williams with his second field goal. He has 4 points in the contest and a chance for a 3-point play. That foul was on Fritz. That's his first. JV ball game tonight. Elyria Catholic got the win in that one. Panther junior varsity squad with a 7-point victory, 42-35. Kyle Junta pacing the sidelines for the Panther JV squad.
I believe that's their 4th win of the season. They defeated St. Joe's on Friday night.
Free throw up and in by Derek Williams. He has 5. Makes it a 55-25 lead. Comes Rob McFarland back in for Elyria Catholic. Had a chance to talk with Kyle's dad and my former broadcast partner, Bob Junta, tonight here at the Coliseum. Bob here with his wife, Shirley. Fritz into the forecourt. His pass deflected, but grabbed by McFarland. And as McFarland tried to get it down low to Martin, a whistle and a foul on Derek Williams for Southview.
Always good to see him, Tim. You come to Elyria Catholic and you look up on the banner, and one of the first ones there with his record and accomplishments that he has here. And I just wish that I could have seen him coach after what I've heard about him. I would have liked to have seen his team play once or twice.
Well, we had a conversation earlier about some of the greatest players in Lorain County. There's a name that always comes up as far as greatest coaches in Lorain County. Inside, Slaughter had his shot swatted out of bounds. But you mentioned the Bob Walshes, the Jim Lawheads, the Mitch Gillum seniors. Somewhere in there, Bob Junta's name always comes up. Short shot, no good from EC. Out of there with it, Quattlebaum for Southview to Williams. Left wing to Jackson, splits a double team, left of the lane, up with the left hand, rolled it in. Ryan Jackson with 16. We're going to have a tough time tonight with the Northern Star during the Mr. Hero postgame show. Baseline left, Martin for Elyria Catholic. Throws it out front, nobody there. Ball ends up 75 feet away in the Southview bench. But I'll tell you one thing Bob Jutta has, which certainly at the top of the list was class. Just a classy guy. Did not pick up one technical foul in his entire coaching career. Not one.
That's hard to believe.
But don't think he wasn't competitive. Oh, my. Lob pass down low to Jackson on the alley-oop, who popped it in. Ryan with 18. 59-25. Arroyo in the lane for EC. Ball knocked out of his hands. Scooped up by Laurenti. Now in for Southview. Tries to go coast to coast and got fouled on his way to the hoop. So Robert Laurenti, 5'10 senior, will head to the free throw line. Now this is an area that Brian Corey, I think, would like to see Robert improve on a little bit. 0 of 5 from the charity stripe coming into tonight. He's got to work on that a little bit, wouldn't you think? It's the first. There we go. First point of the ball game now for Robert. White 25, trimmed in red on his road blue uniform, hits the second. Well, made those two look pretty easy. 61-25 with a minute to go here in the third quarter of play. Fritz left side to McFarland. McFarland back on the right wing to Fritz, 18-footer, right on the mark. Nice shot by Jared Fritz. First 2 points for the 5'8 junior. Makes it 61-27. Jackson for Southview into the forecourt. Right wing Lorain is 3 off the mark. Rebound, Quattlebaum for the Saints. Threw it out front, deflected by Jackson, tracked down by Ramocalis. Ramocalis, crossover dribble into the circle, comes right to the lane, jump stop, bank shot, no good, but he got fouled. So Ramocalis will shoot 2. Again, 3 officials, Jeff Toth, Mark Winerka, and Jim Olenek working tonight's ball game. That foul was on Dane Truchon for EC, his first. And Ramocalis had the first one spin out on him.
Tim, we've talked about Southview being at the Midview Division I draw this Saturday. Elyria Catholic will again compete in the Elyria High Division III tournament. That draw will be this Sunday. So Monday morning on Jim Allen, you want to hear where your team is going to be, how the tournaments have gone, you can listen to Jim Allen Monday morning.
Probably by early next week, we'll put our tournament broadcast schedule together on WEOL. On the right wing, Fritz drops it down low to Schlatter, who powered it up and in. Nice move by the big fella, 6'4 sophomore. Drops it in for his first 2. 8 seconds to go in the quarter. 62-29. Ramocalis takes a look up at the clock. It's at 3. Comes around a Laurenti screen. The 3 off the mark. 62-29. Southview rolling on home. 8 minutes of basketball to play here at EC. We'll bring it to you after this on the Colson and Colson Cage matchup.
Your one-stop place for something really special is Impressions, corner of Oberlin Avenue and Tower Boulevard. T-shirts and sweatshirts personally designed to your specific needs. Anything from bears, trains to zebras, and specially designed hats as well. And don't forget Impressions, your one-stop spot for school jackets. See Dave, the designer expert at Impressions, Oberlin Avenue at Tower Boulevard, right here in Lorain. Looking for the right color, the right style, the right price for your floor coverings? Well, you can find them all at Ted's Floor Coverings, the only place you need to shop for affordable custom flooring. Whether you're looking for area rugs, carpeting, laminates, ceramic, or marble, you'll enjoy browsing through one of the largest showrooms in Northeast Ohio. Their talented staff will even help with your design questions. Ted's is proud to showcase the Kathy Ireland Shades of America collection. Shop at Ted's Floor Covering, 668 Broadway, downtown Lorain, a local company committed to our community. Ted Kalo, President.
Welcome back to the Coliseum here at Elyria Catholic. I'm Tim Elkhorn along with Rob Polinsky. Glad you could join us on WEOL and also on the internet. Tonight's game and every high school basketball game on WEOL this year can be heard online at LorainCounty.com sports. Hear every game live. Go back and listen on demand for all the action all season. Join your neighbors. Log on to LorainCounty.com. Derek Williams with a short jumper to start the fourth for Southview. Derek now with 7, but at the other end, Corbin Schlatter got free and popped in a little layup for the Panthers.
And it was a good assist from Jared Fritz, Tim, finding him.
Yes, it was. 64-31. Southview in a rout. Ramocalis, right of the lane, scoops and scores with the right hand. Bryan with a dozen. 66-31. So Southview will hit the double-digit mark as far as victories this year. They came into tonight with a record of 9-4. Right of the lane, Arroyo had the ball knocked out of his hands, but a late whistle by Mark Winerka. And the foul will be called on Derek Williams for Southview. Again, for those of you listening in Lorain tonight, you can watch this game on WLCS TV 20 tomorrow, Wednesday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. On the left wing for Elyria Catholic, Rob McFarland comes right down the pipe, tried to bounce it underneath. Ball deflected, scooped up by Arroyo, whips it on the right wing to Fritz. Fritz drops it down low, ball deflected, out of there with it, Truchon for the Panthers. Left side Fritz, his jumper right there. Jared Fritz with 4 points in the ball game. 66-33. The score is doubled in favor of Southview. 6:45 to go in the ball game. Again, after the contest, the Mr. Hero postgame show presented by your local Mr. Hero. We'll give our Mr. Hero award of the ball game, and we'll also have tonight's Northern Star presented by Northern Savings. Ramocalis from the left wing drops in a pretty 17-foot shot. Nothing but net. 14 for Bryan. 68-33. Saints by 35. In the circle, the jumper up and in for EC by Dane Truchon.
Neither team has missed a shot in the fourth quarter, both 3 for 3.
Action heating up here in the final period. In the lanes, Laurenti scoops, had it rattle in and out. Rebound grab by Arroyo for Elyria Catholic to Fritz. Down the floor on the right wing to Schlatter. Schlatter had the ball knocked out of his hands out of bounds by Ryan Jackson.
Well, if nothing else, I think Coach Walsh might be pleased that at least this group that he's had in there, they're getting in their offense. They're trying to get some things done. Obviously, Southview doesn't have the intensity that they had earlier.
Inbounds pass deflected, and we'll get a foul on Southview. It's on Maurice. Actually, they called it on Lamar Miller, who's just checked in. Timeout, Bob Walsh. 5:57 to go. 68-35. It's all Southview on the Colson and Colson cage matchup.
Since 1921, your hometown financial professionals at First Federal Savings of Lorain have dedicated themselves to meeting the financial needs of their customers and surrounding communities. They offer a wide variety of financial investments as well as home mortgages to meet your every need. Loans on boats, cars, mobile homes, and other worthwhile purchases are also available. Whatever your financial need, First Federal Savings of Lorain is ready to help. 7 convenient locations to serve you in Lorain, Huron, Sandusky, Port Clinton, and now at 36690 Detroit Road in Avon. First Federal Savings of Lorain is an equal housing lender and FDIC insured.
Well, welcome back to Elyria Catholic. Tim Elcord, Rob Polinsky with you. You know it's a rout when George Corey's on his way out. George Corey says he's going to beat the traffic back to Lorain. Into the forecourt, Laurenti with a shot for Southview that's off the mark, and Lamar Miller now in for the Saints. Got fouled as he went up on the putback. So Lamar Miller, 5'10 senior, averaging 2.5 points per ball game. Shooting 2, that foul on Kyle Arroyo for Elyria Catholic. And for Arroyo, that's his second foul. Free throw off the mark by Lamar Miller. George Corey, of course, longtime area politician in Lorain County, was a county commissioner, was in the city of Lorain offices, now in the Lorain County prosecutor's office. One of the most hysterical men you would ever want to meet. Just a riot. That is, unless he's sitting behind Bryan during a close Southview game. Second free throw off the mark, and lane violation on Southview. Matt Williams now in for the Saints. So it's bench clearing time. 5.5 minutes to go, 68-35. On the left wing, Fritz, his jumper right there. Jared Fritz, 3 field goals, 6 points.
It's been a bright spot for EC tonight, Tim.
Yes, he has. And Fritz getting after Adrian Rodriguez as Rodriguez brings the ball to the forecourt. Rodriguez, long pass on the baseline to Lamar Miller. Miller, oh boy, here we go. Joe Bach, you're going to have to help me out on number 54 for Southview. It's not on my roster. As the ball down low got knocked out of bounds, and it belongs to Elyria Catholic.
Well, there's a 54 on the JV roster, Tim. If you go by that, that would be James Gum. I don't know if that's correct or not. 6'3" sophomore from the JV roster.
Perhaps.
That's my guess.
That's my guess, too, then. Dane Trishon with a shot that's no good, but Slaughter grabbed the offensive rebound and worked it back up and in, and Corbin Slaughter got fouled.
I love when you ask coaches, you show them the roster and say, any changes, anybody you're going to bring up? Oh, no, he won't get in. Don't worry about that one. He won't get in.
Well, you know, if I was able to understand what Matt St. Marie was saying here tonight, because he just announced the foul on Southview's 54. Oh, my.
But you can't say you couldn't hear him.
That's never been a problem in the life of Matt St. Marie, nonetheless, as a public address announcer. At the other end, Elyria Catholic with a turnover. Heading to the other end, Rodriguez scoops and scores. Adrian Rodriguez with 6 points. He was our Northern star in the game against Lorain Admiral King, even though the Saints came up on the short end. He was brilliant that night. Elyria Catholic with another turnover. Long pass down the floor. Lamar Miller scoops with the right hand, then dropped it in. Oh, my. At the other end, Slaughter drives and scores. Here comes Southview, leading 72-40 with just under 4 minutes to go in the basketball game. Right side of the forecourt for the Saints, Matt Williams. Williams up top to Gum. At least we think that's Gum. Gives it off to Maurice Bennett. Now Rodriguez with the basketball, spins in the lane. McFarland picked his pocket, but Bennett got it back at the half-court line. Bennett trapped, whips it down low. Ooh, a nasty collision, running the lane. Out of there with it, Lamar Miller put it up and in. Lamar Miller with his first two, and we've got a Panther shaken up.
They want to make sure Slaughter is okay.
Yep, he took a pretty nasty spill, but he appears to be all right. That'll get Robert Laurenti back in for the Saints. And if it's Gum, he sits down. Into the forecourt, Jared Fritz for Elyria Catholic, 74-40. On the right side, Dane Trishon for EC. Up top to McFarland, left wing Fritz, his three, off the mark, and the ball hits the top of the backboard, and the support above that, that's out of bounds. Basketball belongs to Southview. Again, Mr. Hero post-game show to follow. Long pass down floor, Laurenti, scoop, snow, rebound, swatted out of bounds. Basketball still belongs to Southview. We'll have our Mr. Hero Award, and we'll also have tonight's Northern Star, presented by Northern Savings. 2:57 left in the contest. Lamar Miller will inbounds over on the far side. Miller looking, bounce out front to Matt Williams. Lob on the right side, right back to Lamar Miller, top of the key to Laurenti, quickly left wing to Rodriguez. 2:48 to go. Rodriguez into the circle, bounce right wing to Laurenti, got it down low to Miller, hooked it up, in and out, rebound, batted around, and out of there with it comes Elyria Catholic's Corbin Slaughter to Fritz. Fritz up the left side into the forecourt, right wing, the jumper by Trishon, right on the mark. Dane Trishon with a couple of field goals for 4 points, 74-42. Rodriguez into the forecourt for Southview. Left side to Lamar Miller. Miller at the three-point arc, top of the key to Rodriguez. Rodriguez, left wing Laurenti, drops it down low to Miller. Miller in traffic, banged around and got fouled. Is it me or is Lamar Miller the Southview version of Tractor Trailer? He's got that stocky build, the big chest. Lamar will shoot two. That foul on Chuck Martin for Elyria Catholic. For Chuck, that's his second.
You see that 44 in that build, and it kind of reminds me of a Rick Mahorn, sort of, the way his build is.
Let's hope he's a nicer guy.
Yeah.
At the free throw line, Miller 4 of 7 this season, averaging 2.5 points per ball game.
You know, Tim, this EC unit has played since about the 4-minute mark of the third quarter. And
well, I think Bob's rewarding them for their effort. They're getting after it.
Right. And it also tells you that he was less than thrilled with the starters.
That is a good point as well. Miller hit the first. Lamar, the 5'10 senior, drills the second. 4 points in the ball game for Lamar Miller. 76-42 as we wind our way down to the 2-minute mark. Left wing McFarland, a three is short. Rebound Adrian Rodriguez. He'll scoot to the forecourt, left of the lane. Pull up, shoot, miss. Rebound Quattlebaum in traffic. Threw it up, no good. Rebound Lamar Miller banked it in. Lamar Miller was 6, all here in the fourth. 78-42. Left wing McFarland, right side to Schlatter. His jumper, a beauty. Corbin Schlatter with 9 points in the contest. 78-44. Corbin leading Elyria Catholic tonight. Down low, pass too far for Lorente. Scooped up on the right wing by Quattlebaum, out front to Rodriguez. A minute and a half left. Rodriguez's cross-court pass sailed over the head of Lorente out of bounds.
And Tim, I think you can see that Schlatter has some potential over the next couple of years. Maybe he can improve and be one of the players that Bob can count on over the next couple of years.
Again, Schlatter a sophomore, Hastow a junior. And they've got some guys that if they develop their basketball skills can really become nice players. Out front, McFarland just lost the handle. Loose ball grabbed by Matt Williams. Right side to Gum. Gum in the right corner to Rodriguez. Up top to Lamar Miller. Left side to Matt Williams. Top of the key to Rodriguez. Drops it to Lorente. In the corner to Gum. Back out front to Rodriguez. A minute to go in the basketball game. It's been all Southview. Baseline right, Matt Williams. Left side, Gum. His jumper, short. Rebound. Chuck Martin for Elyria Catholic. He'll bring it to the forecourt. Up the left side. Southpaw into the left corner. Got it in the lane to Schlatter, who muscled it up and in. Corbin Schlatter with 11. Quickly at the other end, Lorente with a scoop that hangs on the rim and falls off. Rebound went out of bounds off Southview. So the Saints will go to 10-4 on the year. And they're a pretty good road team. On the road, they'll go to 5-3. EC will lose their 6th straight and drop to 0-6 here at home. Into the forecourt, Lorente, spin move, run to the lane, put it on the rim and in. Nice shot by Robert. His first field goal, he's got 4 points. 80-46, we're down to the final 10 seconds. Baseline right, Schlatter. Schlatter stumbles, fell down, and he got fouled with 8 ticks on the clock.
Where it's going to get tough now, Tim, for EC is these kids keep wanting to practice every day. You know, there's where it gets, when you're having a tough year like this, yeah, we see the games, but they've got to go to practice each and every day, and it's tough mentally to stay in there.
Inbounds right side to Schlatter. Clock at 6 as we wind it down. Schlatter tried to get it in the lane to McFarland. Ball knocked loose. Lorente has it, and that does it. The final score here at Elyria Catholic. The Saints took control of this one early and never looked back. Southview in a rout, 80-46. The Saints are now 10-4 on the year. They snapped their 2-game losing streak. EC has dropped 6 in a row. Bob Walsh's Panthers now 2-11 on the season. We'll be back. The Mr. Hero postgame show comes your way after this timeout on the WEOL Colson and Colson Cage Matchup.
My name's Andy McDonald. I ride this useless wooden toy for a living. It's hard. I've been doing it for 13 years. And I'm still lame. I do a trick called a 540. It took me a good 6 years to learn. There's a whole generation of skateboarders out there that are just as talented athletically as any basketball or football player. It takes somebody that's not going to be afraid to fall down a lot, because you definitely will fall down. You're not a failure until you refuse to get back up. Drugs are only going to hinder what I'm trying to do. That right there is my idea of getting high.
Yeah, they put on a show, all right, unless you were rooting for the guys in green and white tonight. Welcome back to the Elyria Catholic Coliseum at Elyria Catholic High School. This one's in the book. Southview in a rout, 80-46 over the Elyria Catholic Panthers. Our Mr. Hero postgame show is presented by your local Mr. Hero. Ambitious burgers for ambitious appetites. That's Mr. Hero. Well, Southview jumped out to a 5-0 lead in this one. Panthers came back, got to within 2 at 5-3, and then the roof caved in. A 16-2 run by Southview to close out the first quarter. The Saints were up by 16, 21-5 at the end of one. The rout was on. They never looked back. Southview led by 22 at the intermission, 37-15, and just kept pouring it on in the third quarter of play. Southview outscoring Elyria Catholic in the third quarter, 25-14, and the Saints were up 62-29 at the end of three. And basically the final 8 minutes was garbage time. Southview even outscored EC in that final period by 18-17 to win it going away, 80-46. But Rob, as you said, Southview came out tonight with a sense of purpose. They had lost 2 in a row to very good opponents, no doubt about that, in Admiral King and Warrensville. But they really wanted to prove something tonight. I think they wanted to get that bitter taste of 2 losses out of their mouths, and boy, they did it in fine fashion here at the Panther home floor.
To me, that was the most impressive part of it, Tim, is that mentally, obviously, Coach Corey had them ready. They had lost 2 in a row. They're probably tired of banging on each other in practice. They had an opportunity to take it out on EC tonight, and take it out on EC they did. And offensively, defensively, right from the get-go, they played with purpose, with passion. I thought you had to really be impressed. Obviously, their skill level is better than EC's, but still, you know, you've done games over the years. I've done them where you've seen where teams might have a lackluster effort and don't come out and play very well against a team they should beat. And that was not the case with Southview tonight. They were focused right from the get-go.
Yep, and credit Brian Corey for that. He had those kids ready to play, and they really were clicking on all cylinders tonight. So the Saints with the victory, as I mentioned, now reach double-digit in wins with 10 on the year, 10 up and 4 down on the campaign. And Elyria Catholic struggles continue as the Panthers drop to 2-11 on the season. We'll take a timeout on our Mr. Hero postgame show, presented by your local Mr. Hero. When we come back, a lot more ground to cover, individual scoring numbers. We'll track down Brian Corey, the head coach of the Southview Saints. We'll talk to him, and we've got awards to hand out. So all that and more on the Mr. Hero postgame show follows this on the Colson and Colson Cage Matchup.
What do a store owner, a mother of 2, and an honor student have in common? They've all recovered from a mental health problem, and they're all part of our lives. Mental health problems are surprisingly common. They affect almost every family in America, maybe even yours. Get the facts about mental health. Call 1-800-789-2647 because mental health is part of all our lives.
We welcome you back to the Elyria Catholic Panther Coliseum. I'm Tim Elkhorn along with Rob Polinsky, and the home floor was not kind to the Panthers tonight. In fact, they have yet to win a game here at home. EC 0-6 at the Coliseum, but certainly Southview had a lot to do with that tonight as the Saints came over and really put on an impressive show. 80-46. Southview snaps their modest 2-game losing streak. They run their record to 10-4 on the year, and nice enough to stop by and join us for a moment or two before he hops on the bus and heads home. Brian Corey, the head coach of the Southview Saints. And Brian, you talked about it during the pregame show, the fact that you just wanted to pounce on this team early and really get your kids some confidence and get them rolling. And they got to within 5-3, and it was lights out after that. I thought the early portion of this ball game, as you said, the first 3 minutes were critical for your basketball team.
Yeah, I was really happy with the effort and the intensity right from the opening tip, and that's something that has been a little bit inconsistent for us this year. Some games we come out energized and ready to play, and other times we come out a little bit flat. So, it was good to come out early and get after them the way that we wanted to, and the ball bounced our way, and we got some things that we wanted to get, and it just carried on from there.
Brian, is that something that you can sense as you're sitting with the kids in the stands or in the locker room before the ball game? Can you sense whether they're energized or not?
No, I've tried, and I look at them, and sometimes they really look ready to play, and they come out flat, and other times they're just fooling around in the locker room, and they come out super energized, ready to go. So, again, they're 16, 17-year-old kids, and a lot of it has to do with whether or not you get that first shot to fall or whether or not you get that first steal jump in a passing lane. It's hard to tell, but for kids, you want things to go your way early, because if you get the ball to bounce your way once or twice, then it can carry over to the next possession and so on and so forth.
Brian, one of the things that your stat sheet indicates is that your team is very unselfish. 3 guys in double figures and 2 guys right below that at 9.9 and 9.8. They moved the ball very, very well. It was very impressive to watch tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing obviously we stress as much as possible is sharing the basketball, and you making that extra pass means that guy that received that pass will make the extra pass next time. But I think this is in my 3 years here, every year the number of assists per game continues to go up. I think this is our best turnover to assist ratio among our guards that we've had so far in 3 years. So obviously that's something that I'm happy with.
Coach, the tempo that your team was able to create, especially early on, your shots weren't going down right away, but it didn't really matter because the tempo it seemed you were able to create defensively. You really just created havoc with their guards and didn't seem to ever let EC get into an offensive game plan.
Yeah, and that was something. I mean, we came out, we saw them a couple times, and they like to play with 3 or 4 forwards sometimes on the floor at a time, and Jock Taylor, he's a terrific competitor, and we knew wherever he was, we had to know where he was and try to do everything we could to get the ball out of his hands because, he's a good player, and getting the ball out of his hands and making some of those forwards have to handle the ball under pressure, it makes it difficult on them. So that's what we tried to do from the opening tip, and things went our way.
Brian, I know for the people who are listening in the city of Lorain right now, they may have had a chance to watch the Sports Scene show that you and I did. And I think back to that program because you were so high in your praise for Maurice Bennett, a guy that has just worked and worked and worked at his ball game and has just come leaps and bounds from where he was as a basketball player. He has really turned into an exciting, energetic player for the Southview Saints.
More than anything else, it's good for the program, for a lot of these other players, to see that, you have a kid that's willing to sacrifice, a junior willing to sacrifice and play JV, to do some things to work on their game. And, it's a credit to him because he not only played JV as a junior, but he did it with a purpose. And there was a reason why he did it because there were certain things that we knew we'd need him to do this year as a senior, and the time and effort and dedicating himself the way that he did, it paid off. And you hope that there's a lot of other kids out there in the program that'll learn from that and make that kind of improvement from one year to the next.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, interesting weekend ahead. Garfield Heights on Friday night, and then a little get-together over at Midview on Saturday morning. That should be an intriguing hour or so at the Midview locale.
Well, every year, I mean, obviously, every year it's exciting to see where teams are going to fall into place and who you're going to pair up with and so on and so forth for that. So that's definitely something that we've been looking towards. And, like I said, I always look ahead.
He was drawing up the diagram on the Sports Scene show that we taped a month ago.
Coach, I get excited about tournament time. There's a lot of great coaches, a lot of great teams, and you're always curious who's going to match up where. I was thinking about it in this summer. I was trying to figure out brackets and who might be where. Oh, yeah, it's a good time. It's exciting.
Coach, should you be seated Saturday? If so, where do you think you should be seated?
I definitely think that in my opinion, the top 2 teams there are Olmsted Falls and Avon Lake. I mean, Admiral King in no specific order. Those 2 teams right there. But you look at 2, you have North Olmsted, you have Elyria, and us. And I think in terms of a top 5, record-wise and what we've accomplished so far, I think that would be the top 5. And any of those 5 could end up being in the 4. I honestly, I've seen Elyria play, and I think Elyria is very good. I haven't seen North Olmsted play. I know Schmatzer's a great coach, so I don't know if we're deserving of that, but I definitely think we're in the top 5, and if we get enough votes, we'll be somewhere in there. If not, we'll be happy to pick our spot on the board.
Tell you what, you beat Garfield Heights on Friday night. You go in there at 11-4. You certainly can state your case. No doubt. Should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And like I said, I mean, one thing that really helped North Olmsted was, that big win over Olmsted Falls. I think that deserves a lot of people taking notice to what they're capable of doing because they beat a really tough team. So it shows that they're capable of, and maybe should be seeded. And obviously you have Elyria that won 7-8 games in a row, something like that. I don't know what it is, but they won a lot of games in the past 7 or 8 that they played. So we'll see how it all pans out.
Should be a lot of fun. Hey, congratulations on the win tonight. Do appreciate it, and we will see you down that trail as it continues to roll along.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Brian Corey, the head coach of the Southview Saints, and as always, the interview with tonight's winning coach. Tonight, Brian Corey of Southview, courtesy of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 129, and the National Electrical Contractors Association. The IBEW supports a drug-free environment in the workplace and in schools. Joe Bach, I'm going to take a timeout right now so you can fade to black up there at WLCS, TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television. Again, the final, Southview over Elyria Catholic, 80-46 here at the Elyria Catholic Coliseum. A lot more to come on the Mr. Hero postgame show. It follows this on the Colson & Colson Cage Matchup.
Kids don't come with instructions on keeping them drug-free, but if they did, this is what they'd say. Call to find out what else you can do.
Welcome back to Elyria Catholic. I'm Tim Elkhorn, Rob Polinsky, my broadcast partner on this particular Tuesday night. This one was all Southview. The Saints jumped out to the big early lead and never looked back, coasting home to an 80-46 win over the Elyria Catholic Panthers. We've yet to go over the individual scoring numbers, so let's do that right now. For Elyria Catholic off the bench, scoreless were Rob McFarland, Kyle Aroro, and Andrew Kirsch got in the ball game as well. Points off the bench came from Dane Truchon. He had 2 field goals for 4 points. Same story for Chuck Martin. And Jared Fritz had 3 buckets for 6. And the main scoring from Elyria Catholic came off the pine from Corbin Slaughter. 6'4" sophomore had 11 points all in the second half, including 9 in the fourth quarter. Starting 5, Matt Hasto finished up with a free throw for 1 point in the ball game. John Grega had a bucket and a free throw for 3 points. 4 points came from Glenn Morrison on a field goal and 2 free throws. 6 points from Jock Taylor on 3 field goals. And Brandon Williams had 7 tonight, hit a 3-point bomb, also had a field goal and 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Elyria Catholic with a total of 46 quarters of 5, 10, 14, and 17. For the Saints from Southview High School off the bench, Alan Quattlebaum was scoreless, as was Matt Williams. Everybody else got in as far as the scoring was concerned. Robert Laurenti finished up with 4 points. Lamar Miller had 6 points all in the fourth quarter on 2 field goals and a couple of free throws. Derek Williams had a 7-point ball game off the bench for Brian Corey. Starting 5, everybody in on the act. Adrian Rodriguez, 3 field goals for 6 points in the ball game. Maurice Johnson finished up with 9, and 3 starters in double figures. They share the wealth at Southview. Brian Ramokalis finished up with 14. Maurice Bennett got off to a hot start. He had 9 points in the first quarter, finished up with 16. And Ryan Jackson with a strong ball game tonight. Ryan Jackson led all scorers with a game-high 18 points. Southview with a total of 80. That's 9 above their season average. They came in scoring 71 points per contest. 80 tonight, quarters of 21, 16, 25, and 18. The Saints roll 80-46 over the Elyria Catholic Panthers. We'll take a timeout on our Mr. Hero postgame show, presented by your local Mr. Hero. Ambitious burgers for ambitious appetites. That's Mr. Hero. We've got awards to hand out. Rob Polinsky has final stats. That and more right after this on the Colson & Colson Cage Matchup.
There is strength in our numbers. Our call is to action, to practice what we preach. Be there to care. Our passion is compassion. We're only human, but together we're humane. Our letters stand for taking a stand, for taking the lead, for filling the need. The American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Be part of our heart.
For the people in our armed forces, it's a time of sacrifice, a time of duty. That's why we've joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust, to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. The 4 military aid societies gave millions last year to cover unexpected medical expenses, child care, and more. But with so many overseas, the need is greater than ever. They're serving us. Let's serve them in return.
Take a look at the final stats from tonight's game. First for the Southview Saints. They shot 32 out of 69 from the floor for 46%. They were 14 out of 20 from the foul line for 70%. The Saints had 34 rebounds and just 11 turnovers, including only 3 in the second half. So an all-around very good game played by the Southview Saints. For the Elyria Catholic Panthers, they warmed up a little bit in the second half shooting to go overall 19 out of 54 from the floor for 35%. They were just 7 out of 10 from the foul line for 70%. In that second half shooting, though, for EC, 14 out of 30 for 47%, so much better after that awful first half shooting performance. They had 24 rebounds and 21 turnovers. So again, Tim, Southview creating those turnovers, and to me, that was a huge part in tonight's game.
Yeah, early on, they just got EC into that helter-skelter run-and-gun 84-foot contest. It's what Southview wanted. It was definitely not what Bob Walsh wanted to see on that EC bench. And when the smoke had cleared, the Panthers were down 16, and it was over. Southview in a rout. We're going to take a timeout. It's the Mr. Hero postgame show, our final timeout. And when we come back, awards to hand out here at the Coliseum at Elyria Catholic. We'll have it after this on the Mr. Hero postgame show and the WEOL Colson and Colson Cage matchup.
Hi, I'm Chris Klug, snowboarder, Olympic bronze medalist, and liver recipient. Every day, we make decisions that affect our lives and the lives of others. I'm living proof that the decision to be an organ donor is the right one. Make the decision to be an organ donor and donate life. Make the decision to be an organ donor. Make the decision to donate life.
We welcome you back to the Elyria Catholic Coliseum. Tim Elkhorn along with Rob Polinsky. Most of the folks have filed out. I think we've got 5 people left in the gym, including Joe Bach, B-O-C-K from WLCS TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television, because when he airs this game tomorrow, Wednesday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Channel 20, he wants right on there who our award winners are for tonight. So here we go. It's time to hand out awards during our Mr. Hero post-game show. Undoubtedly, the Southview Saints are going to pick up both of the awards as they win it in a romp, 80-46 over EC. Rob, let's start with our Hero of the Game Award, presented by your local Mr. Hero, Ambitious Burgers for ambitious appetites. That's Mr. Hero. Everybody for Southview played well. We could have picked a few guys, but we thought one of the real heroes for Southview tonight was the game's high scorer, Ryan Jackson, with 18 points, but he was also a man inside. Several block shots, some big rebounds. He really did a nice job down in the paint. He's an undersized post player, 6'1", but boy, he gets down there and just mixes it up very, very well.
An offensive glass that Southview dominated tonight, and that was one of the big keys, too. I just thought their kids really crashed the boards hard all night long. It was one of the things Bob Walsh feared, and that was one of the things that Mr. Jackson was able to do.
Terrific game from Ryan Jackson. I would say he was a double-double guy. 18 points, a ton of rebounds, several block shots. So congratulations, Ryan Jackson. You are our Mr. Hero of the game. And it's also time to announce our Northern Star. As always, the brightest star out on that floor is the Northern Star. And the Northern Star is brought to you by Northern Savings. Bankers, neighbors, friends, Northern Savings, an equal housing lender. And we talk about stars for Southview tonight. I'm not sure there was one that shone any brighter than 6-foot senior Maurice Bennett. Finished up with 16 points. Really got them off to the great start, though. The 9 points in the first period when he did a little bit of everything.
And that was still when EC was in the game. Because remember, first 3 or 4 minutes, EC was right there. It was 5-3 at one point, and then when Southview got it clicking, where they jumped out to a 21-5 lead after one, and obviously Bennett had a lot to do with that, Tim. And after that, it was never a game. So both of those guys that won the awards tonight, they were huge in the early going when this was still a game.
So Maurice Johnson is our Northern Star winner. Ryan Jackson is our Mr. Hero winner. Each one of those young men will receive a WEOL T-shirt. We'll put their award on the back, and we will also have on those shirts their name and the date of tonight's contest in their school colors. And each one of those shirts is a Boscorn production. Congratulations, Maurice Bennett and Ryan Jackson. Rob, any final comments? I think we've covered it all. 80-46, a rout for Southview.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see how Southview fares in the Division I tournament draw over at Midview. Good luck to them as they try to win the conference championship and advance as far as they can in the tournament. They are going to be what you refer to as a tough out in the tournament. And for EC, back to the drawing board. Bob needs to find 5 kids that are going to execute his game plan, or else they're going to have a hard time maybe getting another regular season win if they don't improve after tonight.
And for Southview, up next Friday night, Garfield Heights. For Elyria Catholic, Friday night on the road, they go to Trinity. Again, the Saints win it 80-46. Southview now 10-4. EC drops to 2-11. And that does it. So we will close it up from the Coliseum here at Elyria Catholic. Many people to thank. Our engineer back on the board tonight, Terrence Howell. Outstanding work, as always, from Terry. We do appreciate it. Our engineer on site was Nick. Outstanding job, as always, as he has learned the ropes and is doing a terrific job as our on-site engineer. Nick, good working with you again. Rob, as always, a pleasure.
My pleasure.
We'll see you down the road. Thanks to Joe Bach from WLCS TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television, for tying into our audio feed tonight. We appreciate that. And the pub that we'll get on TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television. And, of course, the biggest thanks goes to you, the listeners. Hope you enjoyed it. If you were a Southview Saint fan, you enjoyed it. 80-46, Southview over Elyria Catholic. Keep in mind, our next WEOL, Colson and Colson cage matchup Friday night. 7:05, Crowell, Cobos, and Noon Insurance pregame show. Avon at Keystone in a Lorain County Conference ball game. So until then, this is Tim Elkhorn telling you our Mr. Hero postgame show has been presented by your local Mr. Hero, Ambitious Burgers for ambitious appetites. And tonight's WEOL, Colson and Colson Cleveland Clinic cage matchup has been brought to you by Colson and Colson Cleveland Clinic Sports Health in Lorain, the nationwide insurance agents of Lorain County, your participating McDonald's restaurants, IBEW Local 129, and the National Electrical Contractors Association. Northern Savings. They have offices in Elyria, North Ridgeville, Amherst, and Grafton. Young Leaders Against Underage Drinking. Mr. Hero, Ambitious Burgers for ambitious appetites. Crowell, Cobos, and Noon Insurance, your Grange independent agent in Elyria. Tonight's game, Southview against Elyria Catholic, was also presented by Taylor, Brunig, and Robinson Company, LPA, on East Avenue in Elyria. The Southview Athletic Boosters, Lorain City Schools, First Federal Savings of Lorain, FDIC insured, and equal housing lender. The Elyria Catholic Panther Club, and by St. Mary's School, the longest-running Catholic school in Elyria. For Rob Polinsky, I'm Tim Elkhorn. Talk to you again on Friday from Keystone when the Wildcats entertain the Avon Eagles. Until then, we once again thank you very much for listening. And from the Elyria Catholic Coliseum at Elyria Catholic High School, so long, everybody.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools, TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.